Shalom, my name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the vineyard. Every day, Yahuah is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Shabbat Shalom and welcome back, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard YouTube live stream Torah portion reading week 21, Tissa, and this is Exodus 30, verse 11 through 34, 35. A lot to actually go over in this. We actually have the glory, the glory passing by Moshe. Also, unfortunately, the golden calf, and that's actually why you don't see the picture of the Torah portion behind me right now, because I just realized that golden calf was like right over my head, and I'm like, okay, we'll just not do that right now. So anyways, so with that, lot to go over, so no dilly-dallying on my part. So let's quickly get into prayer and ask the Most High to bless this study, and we'll get on with the Torah portion. So, Heavenly Father, Most High, Yahuah, we just come before you as a congregation, public gathering of your people, wanting to read from your word and to learn and to glean from it, because we want to be hearers and doers of your word, O Yahuah, Most High. And we ask you to open our eyes to see the wondrous matters out of your Torah, and help us to take heed thereof and to walk out your commands, and neither deviate to the left or to the right. We ask these things in Messiah Yahusha, whom you sent, in whom we believe. We bless you. Amen and amen. So with that, I'm going to make sure you're awake real quick. Yes, one of my favorite verses, let everything that has breath praise Yahuah. And that's why, once in a while, I'll make sure that my animals know the good news. It says everything that has breath, right? It doesn't say just man. So anyways, let's get on with the Torah portion, where again, we're at Shemot, Exodus 30, verse 11. Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, when you take the sum of the children of Yisrael after their number, then shall they give every man a ransom for his soul unto Yahuah, when you number them, that there be no plague among them when you number them. This they shall give every one that passes among them that are numbered half a shekel after the shekel of the sanctuary. A shekel is 20 gerahs. A half shekel shall be the offering of Yahuah. Everyone that passes among them that are numbered from 20 years old and above shall give an offering unto Yahuah. The rich shall not give more, and the poor shall not give less than half a shekel when they give an offering unto Yahuah to make an atonement for your souls. And you shall take the atonement money of the children of Yisrael, and shall appoint it for the service of the tabernacle of the assembly, that it may be a memorial unto the children of Yisrael before Yahuah to make an atonement for your souls. So, it's interesting. We don't. The rich doesn't pay more, and the poor doesn't pay less. It's like it says a ransom for your soul, and it's like this is what you pay, for me giving you life. It's almost like the tithes as well. Like this is your share of what you owe the Most High for Him giving you life. These are His rules, and so be it. So be it. Speaking of ransom and atonement, with everything that's going on, I think this is a great time to remind us how we are redeemed back to the Father. And while we know that our walk is to consist of faith and obedience in observance of the commandments of the Most High, walking in His Torah, which is the way, let us not forget where we came from. Unfortunately, there seems to be that kind of going on. Some people have forgotten where we came from, that we wouldn't even have found our way back to the Father nor His Torah if it not had been through Master Yahusha and His offering for us. So in light of that, 1 Peter 1, and again, in light of ransom for our souls and making atonement for us, 1 Peter 1, 13 through 22, wherefore gird up the loins of your mind, be sober, and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Yahusha HaMashiach, as obedient children, not fashioning yourselves according to the former lusts in your ignorance, right? We're not going to be like the washed pig that goes right back to the slop, or the dog that vomits and eats it right back up. We're going to walk away from our old ways, never to return. But as He which hath called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation, because it is written, be ye holy, for I am holy. Be ye set apart, for I am set apart. Be ye Kodesh, because I am Kodesh. And if you call on the Father, who without respect of person judgeth according to every man's work, pass the time of your sojourning here in fear. For as much as you know that you were not redeemed with corruptible things as silver and gold, from your vain conversations received by the tradition of your fathers, but with the precious blood of Messiah, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot, who verily was foreordained before the foundation of the world, but was manifest in these last times for you, who by Him do believe in Elohim, that raised Him up from the dead and gave Him glory, that your faith and hope might be in Elohim, seeing you have purified your souls in obeying the truth, which we know that the truth is a synonym for the Torah. So obeying the Torah, the truth, through the Spirit, unto feigned love of the brethren, see that you love one another with a pure heart, fervently, not half-heartedly, fervently. Fervently means fervently, like a lot. Fervently. Verse 17, and Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, you shall also make a laver of brass, and his foot also of brass, to wash withal, and you shall put it between the tabernacle of the assembly and the altar, and you shall put water therein. For Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet thereat. When they go into the tabernacle of the assembly, they shall wash with water, that they die not. Or when they come near to the altar to minister, to burn offering made by fire unto Yahuah. So they shall wash their hands and feet, that they die not, and it shall be a statute forever to them, even to him and to his seed throughout their generations. It's something that, and you have to realize, we know that Messiah Yahusha is the high priest, right? And Hebrews talks about boldly entering the throne of grace, and we do that through Yahusha. So, one thing that I've been thinking about, and there's things we can glean from here, even though we don't have the tabernacle and whatnot. If we're to come to the altar and to pray, and the priests used to have to wash before they went to the altar, we need to make sure we're clean, and sure, I think in a general sense, I don't know, I've felt I didn't like the thought of going to prayer to the Most High just filthy, dirty, like, a lot of us pray all throughout the day, so it's not like we have to go take a shower every time we go wash. But, especially if you're coming to Yahuah with supplications and some serious prayer, it's something to consider about physically washing. But, really, I think at the end of the day, it's, the inside, your inside. It's just like when Messiah Yahusha said, if you have something against your brother, right? If you're in a quarrel with your brother, he said, leave your gift at the altar, go reconcile with your brother, and then come and give your gift, right? So, we know that our offerings and our incense before Yahuah is our prayers. So we should definitely take hold of Messiah's words, and we should be clean, not just outside, but inside. Again, there's something about maybe going for a run and being all sweaty and coming back and just getting on your knees. Maybe just wash first. I don't know, just something to consider. But really, I think the most important part and really the heart of it is clean on the inside, because he accused rightly so accused the Pharisees of being clean on the outside, but on the inside they were full of dead man's bones. They were like a whited sepulcher, right? All pretty and nice on the outside, but on the inside just full of garbage. So I think we should look at both, really. But and again, I'm not saying like every time you pray and you go take a shower or wash your hands. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that. And again, I didn't preface this. Is if you're new, if you're just stopping by, I don't consider these teachings of Torah. I'm really learning myself, so I'm really sharing with you what my weekly studies are. So like during the week, I'll study this and I'll take notes, and here we are, and I like to share my notes as we go along with this, because I still have a lot to learn with Torah. So just my thoughts about just being filthy dirty and then going to Most High in prayer. If the priest had to wash, why shouldn't we? But again, more importantly, because we're talking about Messiah Yahusha told us to walk in spirit and truth. So we need to walk in the commandments, the letter of the commandment, right? But there's more to it, in the spirit of it. And so really, these priests washing before they enter the tabernacle, let us also consider the washing of the insides of us, and asking the Most High to renew a pure heart within us and to be cleansed from the inside, to really change us from the inside out. So just some things to consider. I think I finished that, right? So they shall wash their hands and their feet that they die not. That shall be a statute forever to them, even to him and his seed throughout their generations. So you could say, hey, we're not Levites, so it doesn't apply to us. Hey, maybe so, but I think there's some things that we can glean from here. This is Torah, after all. And so certainly there's some, just like, we'll talk about that another time. So, all right, so let's go to Exodus 30:22. And moreover, Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Take also unto you principal spices of pure myrrh 500 shekels, and of sweet cinnamon half so much, even 250 shekels, and of sweet calamus 250 shekels, and of cassia 500 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, and of an olive a hin, and ye shall make it an oil of holy anointment, an ointment compound after the art of the apothecary. It shall be a holy anointing oil. And so, this brings up an interesting conversation, something that most people don't want to talk about and won't talk about. But tough subjects. It doesn't really scare me. So there's a study that's gone around that says this here of sweet calamus, and it's something that I've looked into myself. You look at calamus. Calamus is actually it's a poisonous plant. Calamus is a worthless plant that you can just find just anywhere, strewn across any kind of wetlands, with very little value. And ingested calamus may be toxic, leading to its commercial ban in the United States. This is a dangerous plant. It's poisonous, but for whatever reason, the translators decided to translate. What we'll see here in the interlinear. So the Hebrew word here. So cannabosum is cannabosum is what was used here for sweet-smelling cane or fragrant cane. They translate it as sweet calamus. Now, some people would say, hey, cannabosum, cannabis. And maybe so. Cannabis obviously is a very beneficial plant to the body. And some of you, especially the older generations, you'll probably be freaking out right now and never going to return to the channel, and that's fine. But I'm here to share with what the Most High has shared with me. Cannabis has been utterly demonized by really this country for a long time. It started in the 1920s with movies like Reefer Madness, and really just a campaign to just get everybody away from it. And, it was really the same time that they were getting rid of things like colloidal silver and other really natural remedies in favor of pharmaceuticals and well, pharmakia and that whole campaign of modern day medicine, which is really just man-made, synthesized stuff in favor of things found in nature. So, I want to be very careful here, and because I have seen cannabis be a total stumbling block for people. Cannabis, in my opinion, is a medicine. I have seen people that have, quite frankly, abused cannabis and turned into potheads. And, I don't think that's what Yahuah wants from us at all. People would say, oh, cannabis is bad because it gets you high. Well, then therefore wine is bad because it changes your mind and it alters your mind. Even one glass, I'm here to tell you, even I used to be a heavy drinker, and even in my heavy drinking days, on an empty stomach, if I drink one glass of wine, my mind is changed. It gives you different change. And so, full disclosure, I used to partake in cannabis, and cannabis for me was part of my healing, coming off of alcoholism, coming off of prescription drugs, coming off of drugs themselves. And I believe Yahuah allowed it as a medicine, and it helped me. It helped me get off a lot of my addictions in a natural way. And it's something that I used for quite a few years. But there was a time where I realized that I was healed, and I put the stuff down. And I have seen cannabis be abused. There's actually a lot of people in the Torah observant communities that have either used cannabis or are cannabis that believe cannabis is okay. But I'm here to tell you that I think it's not for everybody. It's not. And me sharing the benefits of cannabis in no way, shape, or form is, Adam says cannabis is okay, so I should go try it. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's the same reason why I wouldn't say, hey, go drink some wine, other than maybe Passover, where it's a feast day to Yahuah and it's part of the celebration. In that case, I'd say, hey, go have some wine, enjoy yourself. But in general, just like I wouldn't say, hey, go out and drink some wine, because it's not for everybody. There's people that they have one drink and they turn into an alcoholic. They fall back into their alcoholism. So same reason I wouldn't just sit here and say, go partake in cannabis. It's not for everybody, because it is a stumbling block for people that makes them lazy and just sit around not wanting to do anything. And I've seen people in this movement that cannabis has taken over their lives, and they have gone astray and gone astray from the truth. Now, whether that's cannabis's fault or not, I don't know, but it's just certainly interesting that cannabis was an addiction for them, and became a stumbling block. But I've also heard from tons of people behind the scenes that cannabis was something that Yah allowed, and it was part of healing for them. And you can look at almost every single plant in nature has some sort of use and benefit for man. Even modern day science shows that cannabis can replace like epilepsy medicine, and a lot of times with Rick Simpson oil has cured cancer, which ultimately at the end of the day we know that Yah is healer, but if he chooses to do that through his plants, so be it. If Genesis, or the big first page of Genesis, said that he gave every herb-bearing seed for the service of man and called it good. So who are we to say what Yah has made and called good can we call evil? At that point, we're against the Torah. So if you were to say, Adam, you're crazy, you're leading people astray, cannabis is from the devil, it's the devil's lettuce, I'm here to tell you the devil can't create that kind of stuff. I'm here to tell you that the Most High made that plant, and we're nobody to say that what he made is evil. Now you're up against the Creator, and so I'd say be very careful there. But again, me talking about cannabis is not just some license to be like, oh yeah, go smoke up and get all stoned. That's not what I'm saying. In a medicinal way, especially in like oil form, which I think is the proper way of taking cannabis or CBD oil, that kind of stuff. I think oils is the way he intended it. I don't know if he intended us to smoke it or not, just to be honest with you. But ingested, I think, is and it's shown a lot of benefits for people. And like I said, I don't touch the stuff anymore. I've walked away from it, not because I think it's bad, but just because I looked at it as medicine, and praise Yah, I don't need the medicine anymore. So, anyways, let's talk about, just really quickly, I want to show you a passage in Sirach about medicine that Yahuah has made and healing through medicine, just since we're here and we're talking about this. And if you decide to never listen to the ministry ever again because I'm talking openly about cannabis, so be it. I'm here to speak truth, and what I at least what I understand it as truth at this time. Sirach 38, 1 through 15, honor the physician with the honor due to him, according to your need of him. For Yahuah created him, for healing comes from the Most High, and he will receive a gift from the king. The skill of the physician lifts up his head, and in the presence of great men he is admired. Yahuah creates medicines from the earth, and a sensible man will not despise them, right? So just because our government called it bad for centuries, or at least decades, I think it's pretty poor decision to jump on that bandwagon and call a plant evil. Was not water made sweet with a tree in order that his power might be known, and he gave skill to men, that he might be glorified in his marvelous works? By them he heals and takes pain away. The pharmacist makes them of a compound. His works will never be finished, and from him health is upon the face of the earth. Pharmacist, this is the wrong word. This is a new translation. This is the apothecary. In other translations, it's apothecary. So again, making tinctures, oils, those type of things. This is a terrible translation. Wow. Forgive me for reading this version. My son, when you are sick, do not be negligent, but pray to Yahuah, and he will heal you. Give up your faults and direct your hands aright, and cleanse your heart from all sin. Offer a sweet-smelling sacrifice and a memorial portion of fine flour, and pour oil on your offering as much as you can afford, and give the physician his place, for Yahuah created him. Let him not leave you, for there is need of him. There is a time when success lies in the hands of physicians, for they too will pray to Yahuah that he should grant them success in diagnosis and in healing for the sake of preserving life. He who sins before his maker, may he fall into the care of a physician. So we also have to be careful. This was written over 2,000 years ago, and the physician arena has changed quite a bit. The only physician I would even recommend seeing is maybe a holistic one. I don't even know what that word means. I just know that that's someone that doesn't believe in pharmacy type medicine. They believe in natural healing. They believe, I say natural healing, like herbs, things made out of the earth, things like that. And maybe even some of them you have to be very careful with. So we all know at the end of the day that Yahuah is our physician. He is our healer. So ultimately our trust is placed in him. But, we are living in a time where if you have a hernia, you can go to a physician and they can do some surgery and fix it. If you have, there's a million things, I'm here to tell you that I despise the medical industry. I really do. But I say that, I shouldn't even say that because, if I were to break my arm tomorrow, I'm going to go to the hospital and get a cast. I mean, I don't know what else to do, until we have a Torah community with Torah physicians. What else am I going to do? I mean, so I say that, and I shouldn't really say that I despise the medical industry. I despise what the medical industry has become. But, in certain things, what are you going to do? I mean, I don't know. I pray to Yah that none of us have to break any arms or any limbs. But if we did, we would go see a physician and they would set the bone back and put it in a cast, right? I'm just being honest. I mean, if there's better ways, let me know. Maybe there's a YouTube video that tells me how to do it myself. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, enough about this topic. Let's move on. So I just wanted to share that with you and be open with you, because if you feel that me ever using cannabis is a no-no in your book, now you have plenty of reasons, not to listen. Not that I'm looking to give you reasons not to listen, but I'd rather just be open with you. And if that's something that you think is, or my opinion of cannabis, because again, I don't partake in it now, but if my past use is something that would offend you, I would rather you know than not know and listen and be offended some point later in the future. So Just moving on. So, and you shall make an oil of holy ointment, an ointment compound after the art of the apothecary. It shall be a holy anointing oil. So again, in using these medicines, I think the apothecary, which is oil making, tincture based stuff, I think is what Yah has ordained. And you shall anoint the tabernacle of the assembly therewith, and the ark of the testimony, and the tabernacle, and the table and all his vessels, and the menorah and all his vessels, and the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offering with all his vessels, and the laver and his foot. And you shall sanctify them, that they may be most holy. Whatsoever touches them shall be holy. And ye shall anoint Aharon and his sons, and consecrate them, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. And ye shall speak unto the children of Yisrael, saying, This shall be a holy anointing oil unto me throughout your generations. Upon man's flesh shall it not be poured, neither shall ye make it any other like it after the composition of it, that it is holy, and shall be holy unto you. Whosoever compounds any like it, or whoever puts any of it upon a stranger, even shall be cut off from among his people. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, Take unto you sweet spices, stacte, and onycha, and galbanum, these sweet spices with pure frankincense, of each shall there be a like weight. And you shall make it a perfume, a confection after the apothecary, tempered together, pure and holy. And you shall beat some of it very small, and put of it before the testimony in the tabernacle of the assembly, where I will meet with you, and it shall be unto you most holy. As for the perfume which you shall make, ye shall not make to yourselves according to the composition thereof. It shall be unto you holy for Yahuah. Whosoever shall make like unto that, to smell thereto, shall even be cut off from his people. So, chapter 31. Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, See, I have called by name Betzalel, the son of Uri, the son of Horai, of the tribe of Yehudah. And I have filled him with the Ruach Elohim in wisdom and in understanding and in knowledge and in all manner of workmanship, to devise cunning works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass, and in cutting of stones to set them, and in carving of timber, to work in all manner of workmanship. And I, behold, I have given with him Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, and in the hearts of all wise-hearted I have put wisdom, that they make all that I have commanded you. The tabernacle of the assembly, the ark of the testimony, and the mercy seat that is thereupon, and all the furniture of the tabernacle, and the table and his furniture, and the pure menorah with all his furniture, and the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offering with all his furniture, and the laver and his foot, and his cloths of service, and the holy garments of Aharon the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the priest's office, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense for the holy place. According to all that I have commanded you shall they do. This is a big one. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Speak also unto the children of Yisrael, saying, Truly, my Shabbatot shall ye guard, my Sabbaths shall ye guard, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations. Throughout your generations, period. That's forever. That you may know that I am Yahuah Mekodishkem, Yahuah who sanctifies you. You shall guard the Shabbat, therefore, for it is holy unto you. Everyone that defiles it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever does any work thereon, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Shabbat of rest, holy to Yahuah. Whosoever does any work in the Shabbat, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Yisrael shall guard the Shabbat, to keep the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign. Here's the second time he's saying it, right? The second time he's saying it's forever. The second time he's saying it is a sign between me and the children of Yisrael forever. For in 6 days Yahuah made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moshe, when he had made an end of the communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 sapphires of testimony, sapphire stones written in the finger of Elohim. So again, remember, the commandments, they're not like stone like you see here. They were actually like sapphire, like that. So a couple things. So let's talk about this. This sign, this mark, it's amazing. Let's take a look at a few verses here. So Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuah our Elohim is one Adonai, and thou shalt love Yahuah thy Elohim with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, when you rise up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand. They shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. So here's that sign again. And if you look at, if you actually look at the Hebrew on this word sign is ot, which actually could mean as well like a mark, a distinguishing mark. The Hebrew word is ot, and so. It's a sign, a signal, a distinguishing mark, a banner, remembrance, miraculous sign, omen, warning, token, ensign, standard, miracle, proof. Really a mark, right? A mark or a sign or a token. So it's a mark that says here, a mark upon your hand and frontlets, your forehead. So where have we seen a mark on your hand and forehead before, right? Revelation 13, 16 through 17, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So I'm here to tell you my interpretation of the mark of the beast is it's the mark of the beast versus the mark of the Yahuah. You've got one of them. Which one do you have? If you want more information on that, I'll show you. I've got a short video really explaining my full position on that. And I know you're going to say, vaccine this, there I said that word, this, that, and the other. And I hear you. I really do. I really, really hear you. But I think there's something way more important than that. And it's right here. It's actually part of it's the homepage. These are the different playlists I have pinned. And here's the Mark of the Beast / Mystery Babylon. If you haven't seen this series, I would highly recommend it. But this one's 18 minutes. I fully go through my position that the Mark of the Beast is really, at the end of the day, the absence of the mark of Yahuah. I really believe that you're carrying one mark, one or the other. And I believe it's a mark that's carried throughout time. It's not just something that it's in the last days. Surely I do believe that there's going to be some stuff physically where if you don't take this or that, then you won't be able to participate in commerce, in mainstream commerce anymore. That's a whole different story. But really, at the end of the day, we're talking about a saving mark or a damning mark. I really believe we're talking about who you obey. And if you're not obeying the Most High, you're obeying either yourself or obeying a false god or false religion, something. So anyways, it's called Avoiding the Mark of the Beast 2020. So the Sabbath is a sign forever, and praise Yah, we're doing this on the Shabbat right now. And so obviously, if you're looking at the Torah portions, you probably are pretty zealous about the Shabbat like me, or you might be new. And if you're just trying it out and you're thinking that the Sabbath is probably the right thing to do because it's the commandment number 4 and it's probably the most broken commandment, I'm here to say I think it's a really important one. And if there ever really is something physical, manifested in this life, instead of a jab in the arm, I'm more inclined to believe that it's going to be a Sunday observance versus a seventh-day Shabbat observance, because the Beast of Revelation is the Roman Catholic Church, and they have gone on record saying that Sunday is their mark of authority. So again, it's going to come down to obedience. Who do you obey? Do you obey the beast whom the dragon gave power to? So Satan gave power to the RCC, and through them they changed the Sabbath, or they didn't change it, but they changed observance for his set apart people, that to keep the Lord's Day on Sunday rather than the seventh day Shabbat. So anyways, moving on. So the golden calf, tough part. So actually, before we move on, I want to read the Targums, actually, of that passage we just read. So we want to read the second and third paragraph. So 1, 2, oops. So 1, 2. So second and third. So this is the Targums, Aramaic Targums. And Yahuah spake to Moshe, saying, And thou shalt make a laver of brass, and its foundations of brass for purification, and shalt set it between the tabernacle of ordinance and the altar, and put water therein. And they shall take from it for a cleansing ablution. And Aharon and his sons shall sanctify their hands and their feet with water. At the time of their entering into the tabernacle of ordinance, they shall sanctify with water, that they die not by the fiery flame. It shall be to them an everlasting statute, to him and his generations forever. I don't know why I had that one written down. Oh, it's because it's chapter 31, silly. So second and third. Okay, sorry about that. That was chapter 30. So chapter 31... And Yahuah spake to Moshe, saying, Also speak thou with the sons of Israel, saying, Ye shall keep the day of my Sabbaths indeed, for it is a sign between my word and you. That's why these Targums are such a gift in these last days, because Messiah is all over these things. So Yahuah is saying, my Sabbath is a sign between me, or between my word, my Messiah, and you. That you may know that I am Yahuah who sanctifies you. You shall keep the Sabbath, because it is holy to you. Whenever so man profane it, dying, he shall die. Whosoever work therein, that man shall be destroyed from his people. 6 days ye shall do work, but the seventh day is the Shabbat, the holy Shabbat before Yahuah. Whoso doeth work upon the Shabbat, dying, he shall die by the casting of stones. The sons of Israel shall therefore keep the Shabbat, to perform the delightful exercises of the Sabbath. It is for your generations an everlasting statute between my word, my memra, and the sons of Israel. It is a sign forever. All right, and he gave to Moshe, when he had finished to speak with him in the Mount Sinai, the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of sapphire stone from the throne of glory, weighing 40 seahs, inscribed by the finger of Yahuah. So he's saying here that the sapphire stone he took it from the throne, which the throne is sapphire. It's confirmed in Ezekiel that the throne is sapphire. So pretty interesting stuff. So let's go back to Exodus 32, and we'll talk about this rough passage here. There's some really interesting things in the Targums here on this chapter. I gotta tell you, I was kind of blown away. But we'll get to that here shortly. And when the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aharon, and said unto him, Up, make us Elohim, which shall go before us. For as for this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we know not what has become of him. And Aharon said unto them, Break off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your women, of your sons, and of your daughters, and bring them unto me. And the people broke off the golden earrings which were in their ears, and brought them unto Aharon. And he received them at their hand, and fashioned it with a graving tool, after he had made it a gold molten calf. And they said, These be your Elohim, O Yisrael, which brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And when Aharon saw it, he built an altar before it. And Aharon made proclamation, and said, Tomorrow is a feast to Yahuah. And they rose up early on the morrow, and offered burnt offerings, and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and to drink, and rose up to play. Let's read the Targums of that. But the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down from the mount, and the people gathered together unto Aharon. And when they saw that the time he had appointed to them had passed, and Satana had come, so Satan had come, and caused them to err, and perverted their hearts with pride. And they said to him, Arise, make us gods that shall go before us. As for this Moshe, the man who brought us up from the land of Mitzrayim, he may have been consumed in the mountain by the fire which the flameth from before Yahuah, and we do not know what hath befallen him in his end. Now Aharon said to them, Deliver the golden rings that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me. And their wives denied themselves to give them their ornaments to their husbands, and all the people at once delivered up the golden rings which were in their ears, and brought them to Aharon. And he took them from their hands, and bound them in a wrapper, and wrought it with a tool, having made a molten calf. And he said, These, Israel, are the Elohim, which brought you forth from the land of Mitzrayim. Now here, this is what's interesting, because I always wondered how quickly Aaron folded and was like, yeah, okay, sure, you want me to build a golden calf? Fine. That's kind of what it seems like in the Masoretic, but here, listen to this. For Aharon had seen her slain before him, and was afraid, and he builded an altar before him. And Aharon cried with a doleful voice, and said, Let there be a feast before Yahuah tomorrow, and the sacrifice of the slain of these adversaries who have denied their Adonai, and have changed the glory of the Shekinah of Yahuah for this calf. So Hur was the other man that was holding up. Well, we haven't read this yet, but it's in the book of Numbers when they're fighting a battle, and every time Moses lifted up his hands, he prevailed, and when his hands got tired, he put them down. Amalek prevailed, and so Aaron and Hur. Oh no, it wasn't Hur. I'm sorry, it was someone else that was up there. Anyways, never mind. Strike that. Totally strike that. Wrong guy. So, anyways, okay. So let's move on. Let's go back to. Sorry about that. I'm sorry when I get off on a wrong tangent. I hate wasting your time. All right. So is Exodus 32:7, and Yahuah said unto Moshe, "Go, get you down, for your people which you brought out of the land of Mitzrayim have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be your Elohim, O Yisrael, which have brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of you a great nation. And Moshe besought Yahuah Elohiym, and said, Yahuah, why does your wrath wax hot against your people, which you have brought forth out of the land of Mitzrayim with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Mitzrayim speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from your fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against your people. Remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yasharel, your servants, to whom you swore by your own self, and said unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. And Yahuah repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. And Moshe turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 sapphires of the testimony were in his hand. The sapphires were written on both their sides, one on the one side, and the other were they written. And the sapphires were the work of Elohim, and the writing was the writing of Elohim graven upon the sapphires. So it's interesting. We actually read this passage earlier tonight in the Hebrew Gospel of Matthew stream, and just showing you there that Yahuah can make a decree like, hey, like he's like basically I'm gonna consume all these people, like they're done. I'm done with them. And Moshe's like, no, wait, what about, think about your promise to Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, and all this and that. And Yahuwah's like, okay, all right. He turned and he repented. Yahuwah repented of the evil which he thought to do. Okay, so Yahuwah can be reasoned with. So in your prayers, petition Yahuwah. Even if you petition him every single day for years, one day he might just answer you. Think about Abraham and Sarah. They wanted a son. You don't think they prayed probably every day, or maybe close to it? I can't speak for them on their behalf, but I'm pretty sure he did. It took years, but he finally answered, didn't he? Samuel's mother, Hannah, Samuel's mother, was barren forever, a long time. She was an older woman. Pray day and night, fasting. Finally delivered. Yahusha teaches that parable of the woman that went to the secular judge and wanted justice. And he wouldn't give it to her, and she kept going back, and he wouldn't give it to her. She kept going back, he wouldn't give it to her. She kept going back, he wouldn't give it to her. And he's like, all right, I've had enough of this woman. I'm just going to give her justice. And he did it. He's like, how much more will your Father listen to those who, continue in prayer, or pray? I'm paraphrasing. Pray. Continue to keep the prayer continual before him. I've got one that goes up almost every day. There's maybe a few days here and there that I might forget on accident, but one day, I feel confident. One day. That's what the word says. So in the meantime, just trust in him and not get frustrated that it's not being met, because, we don't see Abraham frustrated. They prayed. I mean, and same with Hannah. They prayed and prayed and prayed, and was like, one day you're going to answer me. And one day. And when he answers it, I'll tell you about it. Until then, I'm going to keep that prayer to myself. And when Yahusha, this is Joshua, heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moshe, there is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, it's not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is it the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but is the noise of them that sing do I hear, right? Remember, they rose up to play. And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moshe's anger waxed hot, and he cast the sapphires out of his hands and broke them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burnt it in the fire and ground it to powder. This is really interesting, actually, passage here. I always wondered why he made them drink it. So, and he strawed it upon the water and made the children of Yashal drink of it, right? So why did that happen? The Targums, I think, really tells us why. And Moshe said unto Aharon, what did this people do unto you that you have brought so great a sin upon them? And Aharon said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. You know the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us Elohim, which shall go before us. As for this Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we know not what is would become of him. And I said unto them, whosoever has any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Moshe saw that the people were naked, for Aharon had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, which we're actually going to learn what this means. They weren't but they weren't like bearskin naked. You'll actually see in the Targums what that means. And Moshe stood at the gate of the camp and said, who is on Yahweh's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And he said unto them, thus says Yahuah Elohiym of Yisrael, put every man his sword by his side, and go in and out from the gate to gate throughout the camp, and slay every man his brother, and every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moshe, and there fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. For Moshe had said, consecrate yourselves today to Yahuah, even every man upon his sons and upon his brother, that he may bestow upon you a blessing this day. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moshe said unto the people, ye have sinned a great sin, and now I will go up unto El Yahuah, perchance I shall make an atonement for your sin. And Moshe returned unto El Yahuah and said, this people have sinned a great sin. So let's stop there really quickly. So, let's think about the golden calf in general. And, Christianity has really done a great job of reforming the golden calf. And let me explain, obviously Catholicism, the images are there. They literally, it's part of their service, bowing down to these images, putting incense before images. They took out the second commandment that says, not to bow down, not to have any graven images. So that's obvious. But the problem is, even with Protestantism and mainstream Christianity, they have for themselves golden calves, because if we look back at that passage we just read, what they did was they made the golden calf, and it was a feast to Yahuah. So they were trying to serve Elohim, but do it in a unauthorized manner. So, and that's what's really happening in mainstream Christianity when the Most High says, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy, and you've got mainstream Christianity that says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just keep the Lord's Day, I'm going to keep Sunday because that's just, it's what we do now. And Yahusha rose on the Sabbath, on Sunday, and, which is not true. So it's unauthorized service. It's a molten calf. Same thing with, unauthorized holidays, Christmas, Halloween. Halloween's not, nobody thinks that's a real, a feast day or a holiday, a Christian holiday, but Christmas, Easter, these false days that it's unauthorized worship, period. It's a golden calf all over again. And so we've got to really be careful and keep ourselves from these things, because we saw it happen when this golden calf came about. It's basically, the golden calf is it's a figure of unauthorized service, because they weren't like serving, the Egyptian god. They were serving God in the way that the Egyptians told them how to worship God in general, right? To worship Elohim in general. So they were worshiping Yahuah, but doing it the way the Egyptians taught them, and not the way the Most High taught them. So, us growing up in Egypt, or Babylon, whatever you want to call it, us growing up in Egypt, we learned from our youth, a lot of us, how to worship Elohim the way Egypt teaches. And, praise Yah, he's waking us up out of this, But, there still could be, golden calves in your lives that we don't even know, traditions and things that need to be shed. So, may the Most High open up all of our understanding as to any golden calves we may have, any idolatrous things, any images, or false gods we may have, or false methods of worship that is unauthorized in our lives, and may He expose all those to each of us on an individual basis, so that we may get the planks out of our eyes. Verse 32, chapter 32, verse 32. Yet now, if you will forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray you, out of the sefer which you have written. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my sefer. Therefore go now, and lead the people unto the place of which I have spoken unto you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless, in the day when I will visit their sin upon them. And Yahuah plagued the people because they made the calf which Aharon had made. So, let's take a look at the Targums. Interesting passage here, I gotta tell you. So let's see. We're gonna read. Okay, we're gonna read the rest of this in the Targums. It's very interesting. And if you're new by chance, the Targums, it's the Aramaic Targums, it's the Aramaic translation of the scriptures. I do believe that this predates the Septuagint or the Masoretic. I think this is the oldest manuscript we have to read. This is you can see this is even before they had verses, and they had chapters, but this is before they had verses. And Yahuah said to Moshe, descend from the greatness of thine honor, for I have not given thee greatness except on the account of Israel. But now thy people, whom thou didst bring up from the land of Mitzrayim, have corrupted their works. Quickly have they declined from the way which I taught them in Sinai, that ye shall not make yourselves an image or figure or any similitude. For now have they made to them a molten calf, and they have worshipped it, and sacrificed to it, and proclaimed before it, these are thy gods, Israel, which brought you up from the land of Mitzrayim. And Yahuah said to Moshe, the pride of this people is manifest before me, and behold, it is a people of hard neck. And now, cease from thy prayer, and cry not for them before me, for I will let my anger burn like strong fire against them, and consume them, and I will make thee a great people. And Moshe was shaken with fear, and began to pray before Yahuah his Elohim. And he said, wherefore should thy wrath, O Yahuah, prevail against thy people, whom thou didst bring up from the land of Mitzrayim with great power and with a mighty hand? Let's see. This is all the same, actually. Here we go. Now this gets interesting. Okay. This is when they're coming down from the mount. And Joshua heard the voice of the people exulting with joy before the calf. And he said to Moshe, there is the voice of battle in the camp. But he said, it is not the voice of the strong who are victorious in battle, nor the voice of the weak who are overcome by their adversaries in the fight, but the voice of them who serve with strange service, and who make merriment before it, that I hear. And it was when Moshe came near to the camp and saw the calf and the instruments of music in the hands of the wicked, who were dancing and bowing before it, and Satan among them dancing and leaping before the people, the wrath of Moshe was suddenly kindled, and he cast the tables from his hands and brake them at the foot of the mountain. The holy writing that was on them, however, flew and was carried away into the air of the heavens, and he cried and said, woe upon the people who heard at Sinai from the mouth of the Holy One, thou shalt not make to thyself an image or figure of any likeness, and yet at the end of 40 days make a useless molten calf. And he took the calf which they had made, and burned it in fire, and bruised it into powder, and cast it upon the face of the water of the stream, and made the sons of Israel to drink. And whoever had given thereto any trinket of gold, the sign of it came forth upon his nostrils. And this is actually interesting too, because later on in Numbers, I think Numbers 5 or 6, we find the cup of jealousy. If a man suspected his wife of adultery, bring her to the temple, and they would get a cup of water, get some dust from the floor, sprinkle it from the floor of the tabernacle, sprinkle it in the cup, the woman would drink it, and if she was guilty, her thighs, her belly would swell and her thighs would rot. So it would be a clear sign that something happened. So this is very something similar, that he made them drink the powder of the gold, and a sign came about if they were guilty. So not a new concept here. And Moshe said unto Aharon, what did this people to thee, that thou hast brought upon them a great sin? And Aharon said, let not my Lord's anger be strong. Thou knowest the people, that they are the children of the just, but evil concupiscence hath made them to err. And they said to me, make us gods that we may go before us, that they may go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up from the land of Mitzrayim, is consumed in the mountain by the flaming fire from before Yahuah, and we know not what hath been done to him in his end. And I said to them, whoever hath gold, let him deliver and give it to me, and I cast it into the fire. And Satan entered into it, and there came out of it the similitude of this calf. And Moshe saw that the people were naked, for they had been stripped by the hand of Aharon of the holy crown which was upon their head, inscribed and beautiful with a great and glorious name, and that their evil report would go forth among the nations of the earth, and they would get them an evil name into their generations. So they were stripped of it looks like they were holy crowns, because, it is interesting, because in Exodus 19, at the marriage ceremony, they were to be a holy nation, a nation of priests, and we know that these priests were crowned. So here I want to show you. So we talked about the gemstones last week. If you were with us last week, talking about the gemstones on the breastplate, which was really interesting. And those gemstones were they represented the children of the Most High, the 12 tribes. So in thinking about these jewels, right, and the opposite sense in Isaiah 49:14 through 18, with the regathering happens with New Jerusalem, it's pretty interesting. So, but Zion said, Yahuah hath forsaken me, and my Elohim hath forgotten me. Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. Behold, I have graven thee upon the palms of my hands. Thy walls are continually before me. Thy children shall make haste, thy destroyers, and they that made thee waste shall go forth of thee. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together, and come to you. As I live, saith Yahuah, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. So kind of in the opposite sense, in that great day, we will actually be like those beautiful gemstones and like a holy crown, on New Jerusalem. So pretty interesting stuff. There's actually more to it, but we got quite a bit to cover, so we're going to continue. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting that that's the nakedness that we kind of saw in it said that Aaron had made them naked. Well, naked of the crown, not like naked people. And Moshe stood in the Sanhedrin of the camp and said, who feareth Yahuah, let him come to me. And there gathered to him all the sons of Levi. And he said to them, thus hath said Yahuah, the Elohim of Israel, whosoever hath sacrificed to the idols of the Gentiles, let him be slain with the sword. And now go, pass through from the gate of the Sanhedrin to the gate of the house of judgment in the camp, and with prayer before Yahuah, that he will forgive you this sin. Take vengeance upon the wicked workers of strange worship, and slay even a man his brother, and a man his companion, and a man his neighbor. And the sons of Levi did according to the word of Moshe. And of the people who had the mark in their nostrils, there fell the day by slaughter of the sword, about the number of 3,000 men. So also we were talking earlier about the mark of the beast, right? And we know that anybody that has that mark will be done. Yeah, okay, we'll stop there. So anyways, I thought it was pretty interesting, And you've got Satan dancing around there with them, leading them astray. And you got Satan forming this, this abominable image. Pretty crazy things going on there. So let's go to Exodus 33. Exodus 33. And Yahuah said unto Moshe, depart and go up hence, and you and the people which you have brought up out of the land of Mitzrayim, unto the land which I swore unto Abraham to Yitzchak and to Yaakov, saying, unto your seed will I give it. And I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanites, and the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of you, for you are a stiff-necked people, lest I consume you in the way. And when the people heard the evil report, they mourned, and no man did put on his ornaments. For Yahuah had said unto Moshe, say unto the children of Yisrael, you are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of you in a moment and consume you. Therefore now put off your ornaments from you, that I may know what to do unto you. And the children of Yisrael stripped themselves of their ornaments by the Mount Horeb. And Moshe took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp. And this is more about the jewels and that kind of stuff, the ornaments we were talking about earlier. And Moshe took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the assembly. And it came to pass that every one which sought Yahuah went out unto the tabernacle of the assembly, which was without the camp. And it came to pass, when Moshe went out unto the tabernacle, that all the people rose up, and stood every man at his tent door, and looked after Moshe, until he was gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, as Moshe entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and Yahuah talked with Moshe. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose up and worshipped every man at his tent door. And Yahuah spoke unto Moshe face to face, as a man speaks unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp, but his servant Yahusha, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. So, let's take a look here. Yeah, here's the Targums. And it came to pass, when Moshe had gone into the tabernacle, the column of the glorious cloud descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the word of Yahuah spoke with Moshe. I'm telling you, Targums are an absolute blessing from the Father in these last days, especially with everything that's going on with Messiah denying out there. It's so clear in the Targums. Messiah is just everywhere. And here it is. You say, is the word of Yahuah spoke with Moshe. The word of Yahuah is not like a book, like a book of scriptures is not what's talking about here. This is the living word. This is the word of the living Elohim. This is our Messiah Yahusha before he became and walked this earth as a man. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. And Moshe said unto Yahuah, see, you say unto me, bring up this people, and you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found grace in my sight. Now therefore, I pray you, if I have found grace in your sight, show me now your way, that I may know you, that I might find grace in your sight, and consider that this nation is your people. And he said, my presence shall go with you, and I will give you rest. Yeah, okay, did I have something here? Yeah. So, and he said, my presence shall go with you and give you rest. Anyways, long story short, it's just talking about his angel, the angel of his presence. And Isaiah 63, 1-9, this is the angel that goes before them. So it's talking about, sending the angel before him. He says, my presence shall go with you. And I believe he's talking about the angel of his presence. So Isaiah 63, 1-9, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. So this is talking about Messiah Yahusha. This is, his garments are dipped in blood when it talks about in Revelation. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there is none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm, my right hand, brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld to me. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. I will mention the loving kindness of Yahuah, and the praises of Yahuah, according to all that Yahuah hath bestowed upon us. and the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he hath bestowed on them according to his mercies, according to the multitude of his loving kindness. Loving kindness is. For he said, surely they are my people, children that will not lie. So he was their Savior. In all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old. So this is talking about that angel that went before them, the angel of his presence, and he said, my presence shall go with you, and I'll give you rest. So the angel of his presence went with them. And he said to them, if your presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and your people have found grace in your sight? Is it not in that you go with us? So that we shall be separated, I and your people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, I will do this thing also that you have spoken, for you have found grace in my sight, and I know you by name. And he said, I beseech you, show me your glory. Right? He's like, come on, let me see it. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of Yahuwah before you, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy upon whom I shall have mercy. And he said, you cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And Yahuwah said, behold, there is a place by me, and you shall stand upon a rock, and it shall come to pass while my glory passes by, that I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. So, again, this ties into the angel of Yahuwah. I highly recommend it. So I'd highly recommend it, talking about, it actually goes over this passage that we just read here in Exodus, about who's actually passing by here. Because a lot of people will say, well, the Father passed by, right? Because he said, you can't see my face and live. What's interesting is, Messiah Yahusha says, no man has seen Elohim at any time, and I believe that's true. And I do not believe he lied to us at all. So if he says that nobody's seen the Most High, nobody's seen him, So who passed by here? We have to also realize, actually, we'll read this here about, so either Yahuwah the Father came down and proclaimed himself in third person, or his Messiah came down, Messiah Yahusha, his word came down and proclaimed Yahuwah, like proclaimed him, like speaking about. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. So Exodus 34:1, and Yahuwah said unto Moshe, hew you 2 sapphire stones like unto the first, and I will write upon these sapphires the words that were in the first sapphires, which you broke. And be ready in the morning, and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai, and present yourself there to me in the top of the mount. And no man shall come up with you, neither let any man be seen throughout all the mount, neither let the flocks nor herds feed before that mount. And he hewed 2 sapphire stones like unto the first. And Moshe rose up early in the morning, and went up to Mount Sinai, as Yahuwah had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 sapphire stones. And Yahuwah descended in the cloud, and stood with him there, and proclaimed the name of Yahuwah. So, and Yahuwah passed by him. Again, I think this is Messiah Yahusha, not yet revealed. And Yahuwah passed by before him, and proclaimed, Yahuwah, Yahuah El, merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and abundant in goodness and abundant in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, and upon the children's children, unto the 3rd and 4th generation. So again, either the Father came down and proclaimed himself in a third-person sense, or I believe truly Messiah Yahusha came down. And if you want to know more about this, right here, it's something that I would highly recommend. And here looks like you can watch a video that looks like it have an opposite conclusion. So, well, the angel of Yahuwah cannot be Yahuwah, and I agree with that. So yeah, I believe it's not the Father. I believe that the angel of Yahuwah is Messiah Yahusha. So if you want to put that to the test, I would recommend it. I thought that this really made sense of the whole father-son dynamic and everything for me, this study. So it's something that I've been thinking about for many years, and finally I feel like the Most High helped me put it together. And Moshe made haste and bowed his head toward the earth and worshipped. And he said, If now I have found grace in your sight, O Adonai, let my Adonai, I pray you, go among us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us for your inheritance. Exodus 34:10, and he said, Behold, I cut a covenant before all your people. I will do wonders such as have not been done in all the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among which you are shall see the work of Yahuwah, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with you. Guard that which I command you this day. Behold, I drive out before you the Amorite, and the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Take heed to yourself, lest you cut a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither you go, lest it be a snare in the midst of you. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, cut down their Asherah poles, for you shall worship no other El. For Yahuwah Kana, Yahuwah is jealous, is my name. He is a jealous El. Lest you cut a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a-whoring after their Elohim, and do sacrifice unto their Elohim, and one call you, and you eat of his sacrifice. And take of their daughters unto your sons, and their daughters go a-whoring after their Elohim, and make your sons go a-whoring after their Elohim. You shall make no molten Elohim. The feast of matzah, unleavened bread, shall you guard. 7 days shall you eat matzah, unleavened bread, as I commanded you, in the time of the month Abib. For in the month Abib you came out from Mitzrayim. All that opens the womb is mine, and every firstling among your cattle, whether ox or sheep, that is male. But the firstling of an ass you shall redeem with a lamb, and if you redeem him not, then shall you break his neck. All the firstborn of your sons you shall redeem, and none shall appear before me empty. 6 days you shall work, but on the 7th day you shall rest. In earing time and in harvest you shall rest. And ye shall observe the feast of Katsir harvest, and the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of Asif, ingathering at the year's end. Thrice in the year shall all your men children appear before Yahuwah Adonai, the Elohai of Yisrael. For I will cast out the nations before you, and enlarge your borders, neither shall any man desire your land, when ye shall go up and appear before Yahuwah Elohika thrice in the year. You shall not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of Pesach, the Passover, be left unto the morning. The first of the firstfruits of your land you shall bring into the house of Yahuwah Elohika. You shall not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. That's something that I really need to do a larger study on, but for another time. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Write these words, for after the tenor of these words I have cut a covenant with you and with Yisrael. So even here you're seeing the covenant is renewed. So when the thought of Messiah Yahusha coming and renewing the covenant is nothing new. He renewed it, right? And he gave it a freshness with his magnifying the Torah, as he was prophesied in Isaiah 43. He didn't come away to do away with the Torah. He came to magnify it, right? Taught us to walk it out in spirit and truth. And he was there with Yahuwah 40 days and 40 nights, and he neither did eat bread nor drink water, and he wrote upon the sapphires the words of the covenant, the 10 Devarim. And it came to pass when Moshe came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 sapphires of testimony in Moshe's hand, when he came down from the mount, that Moshe knew not that the skin of his face shone while he talked with them. And when Aharon and all the children of Yisrael saw Moshe, behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. And Moshe called unto them, and Aharon and all the rulers of the assembly returned unto him, and Moshe talked with them. And afterward all the children of Yisrael came nigh, and he gave them in commandment all that Yahuwah had spoken with him in Mount Sinai. Until Moshe had done speaking with them, he put a veil on his face. But when Moshe went in before Yahuwah to speak with him, he took off the veil until he came out. And he came out and spoke unto the children of Yisrael, which he was commanded. The children of Yisrael saw the face of Moshe, that the skin of Moshe's face shone, and Moshe put the veil upon his face again until he went in to speak with him. So that's the end of that, and I think I just want to read the Targums, just one passage. Looks like chapter 34, the second paragraph. 34, second paragraph. Yeah, I just this part right here. So, Yahuwah, most merciful and gracious, long-suffering, and nigh in mercies, abounding to exercise compassion and truth, keeping mercy and bounty for thousands of generations, absolving and remitting guilt, passing by rebellions and covering sins, and pardoning them who convert unto the Torah, but holding not guiltless in the great day of judgment those who will not convert. Pretty clear stuff. So praise Yah, he's opened up our eyes to his Torah, his truth in these last days. So with that, brothers and sisters, I pray that maybe something was a blessing for you in the study, but the most importantly, I pray that Yahuah was glorified, that a people are coming out of the world and wanting to be converted to his Torah. So may the Most High bless you in your journey of converting into his Torah fully. I know I'm still working that walk out as well, and want to be perfect in his eyes. Whether any of us will attain perfection, I don't know. There were a few people in the Bible that did that in the scriptures that said that they were. I think we should be shooting for it, no matter how many times we fall. I think we should be shooting for it. We owe that to him. He saved our lives. He sent his son to have a brutal offering up of his life for us. And I think us giving it our all is what we owe him. And I think we should want to even do it. It shouldn't be like, oh, gotta give him my all. I should be like, he deserves my all. There's a passage in Baruch that I actually meant to read earlier, but I'm going to read it now. This is 2 Baruch, chapter is this? 2 Baruch 54, starting at verse 7. For I know that in regards those things wherein I besought you, I have received a response, and as regards of what I besought you did reveal to me, with that voice I should praise you, and from what members I should cause praises and hallelujahs to ascend to you. Listen to this. For if my members were mouths, and the hairs of my head voices, even so I could not give you the meat of praise, nor laud you as is befitting, nor could I recount your praise, nor tell the glory of your beauty. So, man, he just said, if every hair had a voice, I still couldn't praise you of what you deserved. So I believe that. I really do. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, O Yahuah, we praise you. Thank you for allowing us to gather together to study and read your word and to grow together. And we just can pray that you continue to bless us as we continue in the faith, that you continue to give us understanding and an obedient heart to you, a wanting and willing heart that wants to abide in your word, that wants to consistently learn about you, and to not be slack in our walk with you, but to have zeal and a fervor for you, like a zeal like Phinehas, a courage and like David, boldness like Peter, and a heart for your people, like many of the patriarchs. Oh, Yahuah, we ask you that you give us strength in this walk, and that you help us on this way, that we neither deviate to the left or the right. And we ask that you guard us and keep us and our families until Messiah Yahusha comes. And we pray he comes shortly. In Yahusha's name, we do pray and say Shabbat Shalom to you. So, brothers and sisters, I'm going to end with a song or two. So, blessings to you in Yahusha's name, and we'll see you next week. Shalom.